he was more than just a wrestler. He was a superhero, a villain, and a cultural icon. From the bright lights of Hulkamania, to the dark days of Hollywood Hogan, to his legendary returns, Hulk Hogan defined generations. This is the evolution of Hulk Hogan, the man who changed wrestling forever. Before superheroes took over Hollywood, there was Hulk Hogan, a real-life giant who looked like he stepped out of a comic book. A man who transformed wrestling from smoke-filled arenas into sold-out stadiums. This is the full story of Hulk Hogan, from Terry Bollea to the immortal Hulk Hogan. The beginning, Terry Bollea. Before Hulkamania, before the NWO, there was Terry Gene Bollea. Born in Tampa, Florida in 1953, Hogan grew up a massive kid with a passion for baseball and music. He even played bass guitar in a local band before stepping into the ring. In the late 1970s, Hogan met Japanese wrestling legend Hiro Matsuda, who broke Hogan's leg on the first day of training to test his toughness. Most people would quit. Hogan came back stronger. He debuted in 1977 in Florida under the name The Super Destroyer, then Sterling Golden. Fans immediately noticed the size. 6 feet 7 inches, over 300 pounds, jacked to the max. He looked like something out of a superhero comic book. Then came Japan. Hogan wrestled for New Japan Pro Wrestling, and the Japanese fans loved him. They called him Ichiban, number 1. He wrestled legends like Antonio Inoki, and even slammed Andre the Giant in Japan years before Wrestlemania 3 made it famous. By 1979, Hogan joined the WWF under Vince McMahon, senior no entrance music, no catchphrases, just raw presence. He wasn't the guy yet, but you could feel something special. Thunder Lips, Rocky 3. 1982 changed everything. Hogan landed a role in Rocky 3 as Thunder Lips, the ultimate male. The character was flamboyant, arrogant, and larger than life. Perfect for Hogan. In the movie, Hogan walked to the ring wearing a massive red cape, a white hat, and a feather boa. He towered over Sylvester Stallone's Rocky Balboa, tossing him around the ring like a rag doll in one of the most over-the-top boxing matches ever filmed. It was pure wrestling theater inside a Hollywood blockbuster. This wasn't just a movie cameo. This was a cultural shift. Millions of moviegoers who had never seen wrestling suddenly knew who Hulk Hogan was. And when he came back to wrestling after Rocky 3, he brought that charisma with him. Hogan was no longer just a wrestler. He was a superstar. Hulkamania era. 1984, Hulkamania was born. Hogan returned to the WWF under Vince McMahon Jr. and instantly became the centerpiece of a wrestling revolution. The look was iconic. Red and yellow gear, the bandana, the ripped shirt, the mustache. The music, real American blasting through the speakers as Hogan walked to the ring, cupping his ear to the crowd. Fans exploded every single time. On January 23rd, 1984, Hogan beat the Iron Sheik at Madison Square Garden to win the WWF Championship. That moment changed wrestling forever. Hogan wasn't just a wrestler, he was a hero for an entire generation. He told kids to say their prayers, eat their vitamins, and believe in themselves. Hulkamania wasn't just a catchphrase, it was a movement. Hogan main evented 7 straight WrestleManias. He slammed giants like King Kong Bundy and Big John Studd. And then came WrestleMania 3, Pontiac Silverdome. 93,173 fans packed the stadium as Hogan did the impossible, body slamming Andre the Giant. That slam wasn't just a wrestling move, it was the birth of wrestling as mainstream entertainment. By the late 80s, Hogan was everywhere. Cartoons, lunchboxes, video games, talk shows. Hulk Hogan wasn't just the face of WWF. He was the face of professional wrestling itself. 4. Hollywood Hogan and NWO era. By 1996, Hulkamania was fading. Fans were tired of the superhero routine. So Hogan shocked the world with the most famous heel turn in wrestling history. Bash at the Beach 1996, Hogan joined Scott Hall and Kevin Nash to form the New World Order. Fans were stunned. Garbage filled the ring. Hulk Hogan was now Hollywood Hogan. The red and yellow was gone. Now it was black bandanas, black tights, black sunglasses, and a jet black beard. He spray-painted NWO on the WCW World Championship and cut venomous promos dripping with arrogance. Hollywood Hogan turned WCW into the hottest wrestling company in the world. Nitro dominated Raw in ratings for 83 weeks. Hogan feuded with Sting in a year-long storyline, faced Goldberg in one of WCW's biggest matches, and stayed on top as the ultimate villain. This wasn't just a gimmick, it was a reinvention that kept Hogan relevant and changed wrestling forever. WWE return and The Rock. 2002, Hogan came home. He returned to WWE as part of the NWO, but the fans didn't want to boo him. They loved him more than ever. Wrestlemania 8x8, Hogan versus The Rock. Toronto's Sky Dome was electric. The crowd booed The Rock and cheered Hogan like it was 1987 again. It was one of the most iconic matches in wrestling history, a true passing of the torch. Hogan had one last magical run. He beat the Triple H for the undisputed championship. He faced Kurt Angle, Shawn Michaels in 2005, and even Randy Orton at SummerSlam. Hogan was older, slower, but the fans didn't care. The nostalgia was too strong. Hogan was still box office, Mr. America. In 2003, Hogan returned under a mask as Mr. America, a patriotic superhero dressed in red, white, and blue. He claimed he wasn't Hulk Hogan, even though everyone knew it was him. He even passed a lie detector test on SmackDown while denying it. The gimmick was short-lived, but absolutely hilarious. Mr. America proved Hogan could still entertain, even without taking himself too seriously. TNA era, 2010 to 2013. By the end of the 2000s, Hulk Hogan's in-ring career was slowing down, but his influence in wrestling was as big as ever. In January 2010, Hogan made a shocking move. He signed with TNA Wrestling, the #2 company in the United States at the time, hoping to turn it into a true competitor to WWE. But this wasn't the red and yellow hero, and it wasn't Hollywood Hogan. This was an older corporate version of Hogan. Jeans, black TNA merchandise shirts, sunglasses indoors, and a headset in production meetings. He wasn't just a performer, he was part of creative control. On his very first night on Impact, Hogan promised that change was coming, and change came fast. The six-sided ring, a unique TNA trademark loved by fans, was replaced with a traditional four-sided ring. That one decision caused major backlash from die-hard TNA fans who saw Hogan as erasing the company's identity. But Hogan had bigger plans. Along with Eric Bischoff, he tried to recreate the Monday Night Wars magic by moving TNA Impact to Monday nights, head-to-head with WWE Raw. On January 4th, 2010, Hogan made his official debut on live television. The same night Bret Hart returned to WWE after 12 years. It was a huge moment for wrestling fans, but in the ratings battle, WWE dominated. TNA's Monday experiment lasted only a few months before moving back to Thursdays. Hogan didn't stop there. He formed the Immortal faction, a massive heel stable designed to replicate the NWO's dominance. Members included Jeff Hardy, Abyss, Bully Ray, and more. The faction took over storylines for months, but it never reached the level of Hogan's WCW success. By now, Hogan was battling health issues, including multiple back surgeries, which limited him to a non-wrestling role. Still, he stayed on TV as an authority figure, often booking matches and cutting promos. One of Hogan's most notable TNA storylines was his renewed feud with Sting, which culminated at Bound for Glory 2011. Hogan, playing the evil boss, eventually turned babyface mid-match in a dramatic moment, ripping off his shirt and siding with Sting. It was classic Hogan drama, and the crowd loved it. But these moments were few and far between. Behind the scenes, Hogan's TNA run was controversial. He brought star power, but also brought expensive contracts, creative disagreements, and politics that frustrated many younger talents. Some wrestlers like AJ Styles and Samoa Joe felt their momentum stalled during this era. By 2013, the experiment had run its course. Hogan left TNA after a storyline power struggle with Dixie Carter. For Hogan, TNA was a bold attempt to change wrestling again. But instead of a revolution, it became a cautionary tale, the legacy. Today, Hulk Hogan is more than a wrestler. He's a two-time WWE Hall of Famer, a pop culture icon, and a man who changed wrestling forever. From Terry Bollea to Hulkamania, from Hollywood Hogan to Mr. America, every version of Hogan left an unforgettable mark on wrestling history. So what's your favorite Hogan era? The red and yellow hero, Hollywood Hogan, or the legend years? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, smash that like button, subscribe for more wrestling stories, and always remember, what you're gonna do when Hulkamania runs wild on you